Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great today. I'm going to do a quick little audio check here. Audio check. Okay, audio check. Test, test. Okay, looks like we're good to go. Camera looks good. All right, guys. So, got a good presentation here for you guys. I know it's been a couple of weeks, been a little bit tied up with client work and just getting some deals to close, but getting back to it, guys, got a great presentation. Going to be discussing Houston today, and I plan on covering um, all zip codes where the population is over a million first. But eventually, I want to cover every single zip code, or excuse me, zip code, every single market in the United States. Okay, so I want to cover every single market in the United States eventually. And we're going to start with the ones that I market to and I have the experience in, and also two markets that are really popular with investors. So if you guys have any markets that you guys want me to cover, just let me know. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and share, guys. Excuse me, mute here. And then also get back to you guys here moment once I post in my group. So give me 1 second, guys. Uh, just posting, just doing audio check. And again, guys, just doing an audio check here. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So here's what we're going to be discussing today. First of all, I want to make a couple of announcements first before we get into it. So if you guys haven't noticed, if you're part of the Facebook group, I did rebrand the group from Build to Scale Real Estate to Real Estate Marketing Gems. This was a decision that's been on my mind and my heart for a while, guys. Just want to let you guys know that I'm a marketing specialist first and foremost, right? That's why I want my public persona to be. Yes, I wholesale, but that's something I really only like doing like internally. I don't like talking about that really publicly. I do that just because a lot of you guys want to hear about that. But to be honest, just with my brand and what I'm building here, the wholesaling niche is a little small. So I want to expand my marketing tips out to agents, investors, and wholesalers. Still going to be serving the wholesaling community, but just specifically focusing on marketing. I think there's a gap right now in market intelligence. And I'm going to be showing you guys throughout the next couple of live streams that I do how big of that gap is. I don't want to sound cliche or use an aphorism like you don't know what you don't know, but you really don't know what you don't know, guys. And a lot of the success that I have had in real estate and where I've gotten to certain places too in real estate has been through marketing. Guys, it starts with your marketing. Nothing else matters unless you have leads coming in. And so that's why I'm really centered around just focusing on marketing, because I think it's an afterthought. People have these list pulling tools. They have like an abundance of marketing intelligence, but it's really centered around agents and homeowners. So if you guys go on Redfin, if you guys go on any sort of like house buying website like realtor.com, all of the single family residential marketing intelligence or market intelligence is centered and catered to agents, roughly agents, and homeowners. And the investing marketing intelligence and market intelligence is commercial. So that leaves a huge gap for single family residential investors. And that's where I serve. You guys are my people and I want to serve you guys. And that's really my bread and butter. So we're going to be talking about that, guys. We're going to be really getting down and dirty with how to really make your market work, right? I understand if you're not like me, you don't want to go into multiple markets, but it's important to realize that there's a strategy involved with whatever market you're in. I don't care if you're in a rural market, there's a certain way that you're going to be able to maximize your marketing dollars and get quick wins. And then there's a certain way that you can spend your dollars like really quickly and lose. And I've seen people spend 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $100,000. I'm not exaggerating. There was a client I worked with last year and he spent $100,000 in the hole. Just business went under. Nothing to account for. Now, he wasn't my primary client. He was consulting and getting coached by other people, but I came in about halfway through. He was, by the time he spent about 50 to 60 grand, there was nothing I really could do at that point, except for try to prolong the bleeding. So again, real estate marketing gems, I'm excited about revamping the group. I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of it, and I'm going to have consistent content to make. I honestly found myself at a loss at what to post because I just felt like I was saying the same things other real estate investing like gurus were saying. I don't consider myself a guru, but like people that are influencers in the wholesaling space. And honestly, guys, I'm a human too, right? I know you guys haven't met me in person, a lot of you guys, but I'm a human, right? Flesh and blood, been doing this for 10 years, and I have to be excited about what I talk about. And so I'm more excited to talk about real estate marketing. If you guys, stick around for long enough, I may go and talk about wholesaling again. But a lot of what I'm going to be talking about is just specifically centered around real estate marketing. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it, what I have in store for today. I have a presentation created. So a lot of you guys I know are going to be catching the rerun and replay of this, and that's all good. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in just in the comments, okay? On Facebook or YouTube, wherever you guys are watching this. So Houston Marketing Guide. And this isn't just for people in Houston. There's going to be things that I discuss that can be applicable and apply to whether you're marketing in Texas in general, because I'm going to be discussing that new texting law that went into effect, texting and cold calling law, telemarketing law. So I'm going to be discussing that here, as well as there's just going to be things that you guys can take away. There's always a gem that you guys can take away and apply to your market. And it provides you with a different way of looking at your market too. So guys, let's go ahead and get into this. So again, I'm CC Garland, guys. The purpose of this guide is going to be to provide you guys with clear marketing intelligence for investors. So I'm going to provide you guys with a comprehensive overview of the Houston market as it relates to investors. So too many marketing reports lean toward homeowners and agents. So I look at this more of like a guide, not just like a report, because I think reports are static. So yes, I am going to be mentioning, marketing statistics, but a lot of times I've seen it whenever I go on Redfin, as I was doing research for this report, Realtor, you name the website, Zillow, it literally, guys, the information is just so unactionable. Like, it's not actionable, excuse me. Meaning they'll say, well, there was an increase. They'll do trend analysis. There was an increase of 0.9% housing units sold this year, and from August 1st to August 30th or August 31st compared to last year. Okay, what do you do with that? That's good to know, but what do you do with that? So the whole purpose of this guide is to spare you guys with that 80% of stuff that you get out there on Redfin, Zillow, whatever market research website you're using. And it's actually to give you that, guys, that 20% of gems that you guys are missing that those companies aren't covering. And so I want this to be really specific, really actionable. So if you're in this market, I want you guys to be able to walk away and say, hey, you know what? I have a good plan to target leads in my market. And there may be some areas and zip codes that I mentioned to you all that you guys may not even have thought of. I know as I was doing this research, there's been some zip codes that I honestly have skipped over. And I really want to show you guys some of the information that I created. I will be referencing my zip code analysis sheet as well. So questions that this guide will also answer include but aren't limited to, and this includes all the guides I'm going to be creating. Where's the best zip code or neighborhoods to target? What areas should you avoid? How many leads to get a deal, right? In Houston, Texas. I actually have marketing intelligence from marketing campaigns I did in Houston and for clients previously. What's the best way to reach out to sellers? And ultimately, is Houston a good market to invest in, right? Because I think that answer is different based off your strategy, your exit strategy. If you're doing novations, if you're an agent just looking for listings, or if you're wholesaling, that answer is going to be it's going to be a little bit different for you guys. And you need to determine what your risk tolerance is and if it makes sense based off of how much you're spending on marketing to be in that market, okay? And the timeline it's going to take for you guys to get a lead in to close based off the marketing channel you're using. So I'm going to answer all that for you guys in this report. And a lot of the information I'm going to say and the KPIs I'm going to talk about are going to basically be the same for every market, right? I'm not like, I will customize them as my KPIs are telling me to, where I have that data and intelligence with markets I've done campaigns in the last year. But for the most part, guys, my KPIs for direct mail, how many leads it takes to get a contract, the average assignment fee has been the same for several years. My KPIs and benchmarks for cold calling has been the same for several years. Texting, up until the laws went into place, they were the same for several years from about 2018 to 2021, 2022, 2024, things have changed. So we're going to talk about that 2024 onward. So guys, any feedback that you have or suggestions to include in future reports, just let me know. I will also be changing my brand back to CC Garland Marketing. I've actually never stopped emailing you all from this email. If you guys have emailed me, Build to Scale Real Estate, it was a good experiment. I thought I wanted to change my company to something like TTP with Brent Daniels. Love what he's doing. Tiffany High, love what they're doing. Josh and Tiffany High, love what they're doing. I thought I wanted to take my company to that direction. You guys are seeing me experiment, just like you guys as a business owner in real time. Okay, I'm a real person, flesh and blood here. And so I experimented with that, and I just like staying in the marketing angle, guys. This is really my bread and butter. This is what I enjoy talking about. This is where I think my mind naturally operates in, is just this analytical angle. And this is why a lot of you guys started following me. So I'm going to give the people what they want. All right, guys. And if you have any questions or comments or feedback, what questions or anything, any metrics to include in future reports, feel free to email me at info@ccgarlandmarketing.com. Okay, guys. About me, if you guys haven't, heard about me, and I'm just doing this for posterity, guys. I'm CC, been wholesaling since 2015, full-time investing since 2016, have not worked a full-time job since then. Guys, I realized marketing was really important when I had basically my whole team built out. So it was around 2017. I was already in business for 2 years, full-time for a year. So I was just living off my real estate investment company, which was great. But I had an office of several acquisitions managers, in-house admin assistants. I don't know what they were working on. Don't ask me. People said to get admin assistants. I had several virtual assistants. And the one thing that was plaguing me was my acquisitions people were just sitting back, twiddling their thumbs, wondering, what do we focus on next? And I realized it comes down to marketing, right? It comes down to marketing. So I got the same information that you guys got early on, was just spend money on the same direct mail list when I saw my response rates decreasing. So I'm going to hit the same direct mail list over and over again and spend like $5,000 per direct mail campaign. And I'm getting a decrease in the response rate? Absolutely not. Also, too, I realized being in South Carolina and Charleston, it was a little bit too small to scale it. So I realized I had to go to a virtual market. So I'm going to talk about interweave, all my lessons in a lot of these marketing reports here. So you guys actually hear in my voice and hear why I'm doing, why I do certain things. And it's not just theoretical, it's actually a lesson that I have. And I probably have 100 stories and lessons for each, 100 stories for each lesson learned. Excuse me, guys. Been going a lot today, talking a lot. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it with the meat of the presentation. So in Houston, the whole MSA, it comprises of 8 counties, totaling 197, give or take a few, zip codes. 4 significantly distressed. I'm going to show you guys on my spreadsheet here in a moment with my zip code analysis that I did for Houston, what zip codes I consider significantly distressed and why. And then we're going to go and look up, really look at some of the houses that were sold in those zip codes. But I'm considering any zip code where the median sale price is at or below $150,000. Okay, so in the last 30 days, we had 4. And these have to be significantly distressed. If I got this data in July of 2024 and there's 4 zip codes, July of 2025 and there's 4 zip codes underneath 150K, guys, that means these zip codes are going to be at 120 or 100,000 or 110 come the winter time, because we know there's a spike and increased home sales and how much people are paying for homes in the summertime. So that's very startling. So I'll drop this gem. I didn't write it here, but a gem, guys, is that if you want to get a quick deal, we want to basically rank these zip codes by tiers. And if you want to get a quick deal, just go in these zip codes. Now you're going to have to deal with a lot of issues like probate issues, and properties that you target may not be worth anything to contract because the homes aren't worth, they're worth less than what you can pay for them, right? And what the seller wants. Even if the seller says, hey, have this house for $1,000, it may be a tear down and the lot may be worth $250. I know that's an extreme example, but I've seen that before. So marketing gem, guys, too often investors only focus on the main county in the major market. Houston is no exception. So a lot of people in this market will just say, let me just focus on Harris County. Guys, there are over 68 zip codes. And 68 zip codes, guys, that's as many zip codes in a small MSA with maybe 500,000 to 600,000 in population. So just with the secondary counties, there's 68 zip codes and over 72,795 motivated housing units based on our proprietary criteria. And guys, my proprietary criteria is one that I've been generating and worked on for years. This isn't an AI algorithm or anything like that, guys. And if you use DataFlip, their data isn't that great. And they use all this AI stuff. I'm the AI. I'm the artificial intelligence. It's my experience. And I actually do marketing campaigns, and I'm able to take those statistics and data nationwide to really get a good idea of what's happening in the market. And I go back and restructure my list and my criteria based off of how the list perform. And just, in my opinion, the criteria that I have is how I get in contact with the most number of motivated sellers, right? Without sacrificing, seller motivation. So are these all people that are absentee and 100% high equity? No. But out of these 72,000 individuals, we're going to have a select number of people that want to sell at, excuse me, let me pull up my spreadsheet again. We're going to have a set number of people that are going to want to sell immediately, and it makes sense to target out of this 72,000. And I'm going to share with you guys how I would do that. So if you have even if you have a $20,000 or $30,000 budget, there's no way that you can get in touch with all 72,000 of these people at once. So you have to determine who are you going to market to initially, right? And that's what I'm going to go over. And we're not finished talking about the zip codes. This is just an overview for you guys. So let's talk about the key differences between the Houston market and other markets. Now, guys, this isn't necessarily politically correct, but I have to say this. There is a large Hispanic population, over 50% roughly, in the whole Houston MSA, metropolitan statistical area / market. I use those terms interchangeably. Why does this matter for you as the investor? It matters because I often hear when I market to these individuals that the property has already been flipped or renovated. So there's no value add. So one thing to keep in mind is that when you're targeting these areas and these zip codes, you might want to target homeowners who've owned their homes for more than 20 years. I do more than 10 years, but if you're trying to get a deal out of these 72,000, you might want to do this. You might want to target people and target homeowners before this large transfer of wealth and transfer of homeownership happened in 2017. Like 2017 to like 2021 is when anybody who was very, very distressed and motivated that wanted to sell sold, right? Based off of the hurricane. And that's when you saw a lot of people that are in the Hispanic population scoop up these homes. So again, think about it, guys. I'm just being practical here. I'm not trying to stereotype. So please just go with me here. I'm an analyst. I look at things from a very black and white analytical standpoint. Some nuances here and there. But think about the types of individuals you see working at a construction site. Are they people that look like me? No. Are they people that look like CEOs? No. They are Hispanic. So if they're Hispanic and a large percentage of the population of homeowners are Hispanic, then do you think they're going to be sitting in a house that's significantly distressed? No. When we call a lot of people that are even in the distressed zip codes, they would have bought the house in 2017, 2018. And those same individuals who would have had deferred maintenance in, say, another market like Charleston, Cleveland, Ohio, Tampa, Florida, you name your pick of other non-ubiquitously Hispanic population markets, these individuals would have, these individuals here have friends basically that could come and renovate the homes. So that's just something to keep in mind. Yeah, something to keep in mind. And that's going to affect how many homeowners you need to reach out to in order to get a property under contract. Because I tried, guys, to eliminate the zip codes that have a lot of Hispanic individuals, but you're basically, in that case, you're not going to target Houston at all. So, it's just something you have to take in consideration. So again, just something to keep in mind. So guys, how do I keep from running out of motivated sellers to target? This is really important here, guys. How do I keep from running out of motivated sellers to target? So I keep from running out of motivated sellers to target because I think about outbound marketing efforts like a car. And in my ebook, the Deal Makers Playbook that I released earlier in this year, I use this analogy. Okay. A car cannot run without gas. If you're traveling from New York to Miami, it might take 6 tanks of gas, meaning that you'll need to stop at 6 gas stations 6 times. So if I go visit you in New York, I'm going to have to fill up my car 6 times. Let's just say we have a great time for a week, and then it's time for me to come back. I can't go to those same gas stations and say, well, or just pass them and say, well, I filled up at that gas station. I would fill up because I'm on E, but I'm not going to because I'm good because I already filled up on gas. It doesn't make sense. It's absurd just by me saying that. So you guys should look at this as the same thing. It should be absurd for you guys thinking that you can target the same list for multiple months and generate consistent leads. Now, some of you guys may say, well, I've been targeting the same list for a year and I got deals. Guys, I'm talking about closing 1 or 2 deals or 3 consistently. If you want to close deals consistently, you have to constantly be putting gas in that car. Yeah, I can use the same analogy. If I drive my car twice a month, let's just say to the grocery store and back, and I walk everywhere else and it just sits in my garage, yeah, I can live off the same tank of gas for probably like 4 months probably. But guess what? I'm only going to be going to the store once or twice. I'm going to be limiting my experiences and how much I go out. But let's just say I want to go out to the pub. I want to go to church. I want to go visit my friends. I want to go visit my family. Okay? I'm going to have to start putting more gas in that tank. It's the same way with our marketing. If we want to close more deals, we're going to have to put more gas in that tank, guys. It's super important to realize that. We're going to have to put more leads, more lists, new unique homeowners in our dialer, in our direct mail campaign, in our SMS campaign, in our RVM campaign, whatever it is. Guys, a lot of you guys want to try to focus on skimping on marketing dollars. You want to use Xleads, Deal Machine. You want to use all this stuff where you get, a list for like a fraction of a cent. And you're going to pay for that by having to target more homeowners. Okay. And it's going to cost you more. And to be honest, guys, you really shouldn't be direct mailing a list that you get from PropStream, a list that you get from Deal Machine. Guys, you have to use a legitimate marketing company or know what you're doing before you direct mail a list. Because if you direct mail a list and half of those individuals are outdated, like the mailing addresses, you're spending like 60, 70 cents darn near now on a mail piece. Let's just say 60 cents on a mail piece. And you mailed 10,000 people, and let's just say 5,000 get returned. That's $3,000 you wasted. And that's not far from what I've seen a lot of people do. So you need to be able to make sure you're using updated data that have updated mailing addresses. So get it from a reputable marketing company in order if you're going to be doing direct mail. So I've seen a lot of people wash out of this industry because they've done direct mail, and I don't have an issue with it. It's just a lot of you guys don't know how to do it properly, and it costs you money. I'm here to save you money here, guys. I'm here to save you money. So again, think of your marketing list as disposable, right? Disposable. You can target them again, but once they're done, just like with cold calling, you could dial it again and again. But once it's up in the dialer over the month, it's time to dial a new one. Once you message the homeowners once, it's time to text them again. That's more so you can stay compliant, right? You don't want to be hitting people up over and over again, and you don't become a nuisance or get sued. A lot of you guys were like, I'm so concerned about getting sued. A lot of you guys are begging to get sued out here because you're being cheap and you want to hit the same homeowners over and over again with the same list, and then you wonder why you get a lawsuit. Guys, I'm knocking on wood right now, but I've done marketing for investors. I've done my own marketing. I've been doing this for 10 years, seen all the different marketing channels have their time, come and go and come back, like with SMS. SMS had its time, it went away, and now it came back. So I've seen a lot of these marketing channels come and go, and I've been through the heyday with them. And guys, there's always been a looming threat of litigation or somebody's going to sue you. And I have not had any legal issues, guys. 4 million, 5 million plus, and homeowners marketed to you, at least list pulled. and that's just what I can count in one of my FTP servers. Okay. So guys, we're going to get to the fun part here. So I'm going to start talking about the marketing strategy for Houston. And guys, you can take some takeaways from this in your market, apply what I'm saying to your market, and I'm going to probably do your market at some point in the next several months. So I just want you guys to just sit back, relax, and then look at what I have prepared, because I think this is going to apply to you whether you're in Houston or not, whether you're doing direct mail, whether you're doing cold calling, whether you're doing texting. I think it's just really important for you guys to hear these themes over and over again, because there's a lot of noise out here, and you have a lot of people talking about marketing, but guys, they scrape over it. All these like gurus out here, guys, they gloss over marketing. They gloss over it, and that's basically 80% of your marketing budget, your budget, your overhead. Because a lot of you guys don't have offices. I know I didn't when I first started out. My budget went to list and virtual assistants that were cold calling the list, skip tracing the list for me, or texting the list for me, or skip tracing the direct mail pieces that we didn't get hits on. Centered around marketing. So when we talk about overhead, really you can use your overhead for your investing company your overhead as marketing. Those things are interchangeable. And I want you guys to start using marketing interchangeably with volume, right? So whenever I say marketing, I want you guys to be thinking high volume. So there are over 178,269 total motivated seller property records to target in Harris County. Where did I come up with that number? Guys, it's my own personal proprietary criteria I've used, and I've determined it makes sense to target. Now, there's different tiers, just like there's different tier zip codes to target. There's different tier sellers to target. So, out of this 178,000 and change zip homeowners, there's somebody on here which will be like the 170,000 person that I will target. Does that mean I won't target them? No, it'll just mean I'll target them eventually. I'll use an example of a company I work with here in Charlotte as their marketing director. I mention them sometimes. I'm not going to mention the specific name, but if you guys work with me personally, I've mentioned them, and I've probably mentioned them on streams. But I worked as their marketing director, so we probably closed up to 1.7. It's like $1.7 million in the year that I worked with them. So that was from August of 2019 to like September of 2020. And I was still serving clients and doing my own wholesale deals. So we didn't have a non-compete agreement. They were great to work for, great company. But I helped them scale their marketing department, and we were actually in Houston, right? So during the heyday, I would say after Hurricane Harvey, we were doing a lot of volume as far as marketing, and we were doing a lot of volume as far as just pulling data. So one thing that I realized with them is that in order to close about 10 deals a month, because they had a full-time staff in-house, I had over 40 cold callers I was managing, we had to eventually pull all the people in that market. So I'm saying 170,000 people here in Houston. Total housing units to target probably are over, single family housing units minus condos with duplexes, triads, and quads. Yeah, let's just say 500,000. It's probably more than that, but let's just say 500,000. So it got to the point where we pulled everybody, not just the people with my filters on here, but we pulled everybody that bought a home that had at least 3 years of ownership. And we were doing creative financing offers. We were referring homeowners to realtors. We didn't have a lot of waste. We did a couple of creative financing deals, but really, if we were able to get somebody at like 70 cents on the dollar and they couldn't go any lower because of mortgage or anything, we would try to list it. So before novations were a thing, we would list it with a realtor, and we wouldn't just take a percentage of their commission, right? We would list it, and then we would, basically list the spread. Whatever, we had realtors that would work with us, and they basically wholesale. It turned into a novations. But again, it didn't make sense when we first went in there to target all 500,000. Eventually it did, because we had to have unique people we could target. And like once out of every 4 months, I pulled everybody new, because in about every 90 days, 60 to 90 days, definitely 90 days, all your data is going to go bad, right? Within 30 to 60 days, over 50% of your phone numbers go bad. And that's using, guys, and that's using all of these data sources that you guys use. With my data source, I literally did this experiment last year with a client because he was using one of these cheaper data sources like PropStream or Batch Leads or Deal Machine. It was a cheap data source he was using. And I looked and I saw, once I skip trace his list again with the same data source, in 30 days, there were over 40, it was like 45%, let's just call it 50% of the phone numbers went bad. And there was a new phone number one. Wow. And then with my data source, in about 65, 70 days, that same percentage went bad. But in 30 days, only 30% of my data went bad. It's the difference of the data source. I had a client that messaged me today, guys, and he was asking me about how does he get his text to contract rate ratio down, meaning it took him, I think, 58,000 texts to get one property under contract. That's easy. I know what that issue is. It's a data issue. It's probably a zip code targeting, but more importantly, it's a data issue. So, guys, I'm not going to tell you guys what you want to hear. I'm just going to tell you guys what you need to hear. And what you need to hear is that if you go cheap, you're going to end up having to deal with these cheaper results. There's no workaround with that. If you want to make things easier on yourself and smoother on yourself, you're going to have to spend more. So I don't deal with a lot of the problems that most investors deal with when marketing because I'm paying a premium on data, right? So it takes me probably 1 out of 40,000 texts to get a deal under contract. And that's average out over a quarter. Really, when I go into a new market, it takes me maybe like 1 out of 30,000. That's pretty good, guys. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then I could get a contract in about 2 weeks, right? 45 days lead to close. And that's why I'm hammering texting if you guys hear me talk about it a lot, because I know the position you guys are in. You guys want deals fast. But again, in order to stack the pipeline and create a robust wholesaling company, I suggest doing it all. But there's a particular order to take, right? There's a particular order to take here, right? So I'm going to show you guys the order that I would take once I go over these metrics here. I'm going to go open up my zip code analysis sheet. So direct mail assignment fees, guys, in Houston. And this is from actual evidence for myself and clients I've worked with going back to 2000. I started marketing in Houston in 2017, way before I worked with that company here in Charlotte. So averaging 40,000, but it takes about 17,000 direct mail pieces, postcards, not yellow letters, to close a deal. Okay. So average time to close a deal is 60 days from the leads coming in, our lead coming in, to contract. So if you're not doing this type of volume in Houston, then it's not worth your time. This is, again, you might do 17,000, but over the course of a year. So a lot of you guys are concerned, like, man, why am I not closing deals consistently? Guys, there's a certain point you have to hit, a threshold you have to hit for when you can expect your first deal or expect a deal. Okay. And if you don't hit that threshold with each of these marketing channels that I'm discussing, it's not going to be worth your time, or you can't be frustrated when you're not getting a property under contract or properties under contract quickly. So if you want to get 2 direct mail deals under contract, you have to do 17,000 in a month. Now, the company I work with staggered them over the course of, I think, 2 months, because I did the direct mail campaigns. I ordered them. I remember it'll be 17,000 direct mail pieces roughly to get a deal. And that was true for a year. And then when I did direct mail after that in Houston, all the way up until like a year ago, it was the same amount. And guys, I do experiments. So I'll do direct mail just to do an experiment, just to see if it still works and to make sure my KPI staying true. And obviously to close a wholesale deal, right? I'm doing a lot of power of attorney / novations in Houston, guys. I'm doing a lot of those, not necessarily straight assignments, because again, it's just taking a lot of leads to get a property to close in Houston. And I don't want to risk it, right? If it's taking me 200 leads, that tells me that competition is stiff. if I put the property out there to the market, I want to make sure nobody's trying to like go behind my back. And most likely the lead I have is in other people's CRMs too. So just need to be practical, have street smarts, and be mindful of that as well. Okay. Cold calling, guys, it's taking 1 hour, 200 leads to close. So again, if it's taking you 4 months to get 200 leads, you can only expect that. Right? You can't say, well, CC, I mean, I'm doing a lot of cold calling. I'm doing a lot of dialing. Guys, I don't think you realize, I don't want to insult your intelligence. I don't think you all realize how much marketing it takes just to get one lead, one deal to close. Because you're going to have to account for deals falling out of escrow, things happening logistically, delays in closing. So yeah, there's probably another 2 to 3 hot deals in this that will close a little bit later. But if we want to make sure we close one in 30 days, that's what we're going to have to cough up. But unfortunately, a lot of you guys are solopreneurs and you're spending your paycheck. I was there, the little money you have to get a property under contract. So I'm going to share with you guys after, I go through these metrics, how you can, maximize your marketing dollars and spend a little less. I'm not saying you can spend less permanently, because it's just not possible. And you're going to see why it's not possible to spend less for your whole career. Like you could do like some of these guys I talked to a couple weeks ago where they're just doing probates, guys. And man, it's like they're private investigators just to close one property. It's taking them 6 months. Yeah, they're closing $50K, but they did all this like work. That's not scalable. And eventually it gets to a point, guys, where you just can't keep it up. Maybe for your first, second, third, fourth, maybe even fifth years. Guys, I'm 10 years in. I've experienced health setbacks. I experienced family setbacks. I've experienced a lot of things I don't share with you guys. And I've had to not take my foot off the gas intentionally, but I've had to step back. And I was grateful that my company was on autopilot to a certain extent and scalable, because I can only imagine if I was just doing probates and our foreclosure, it depended on me scouring the county records and nobody knew how to do that. My company is at a standstill. Reason why I named my company Build to Scale Real Estate. Now I'm switching to CC Garland Marketing, but it was to ultimately show you guys how to scale. And sometimes, guys, it seemed like I was just talking to a brick wall sometimes, with things I was saying, which is why I just sort of gave that up, guys, which is why I'm just going back to marketing, because, people are just going to have their own mentality, and I need to choose my battles. I lost a lot of sleep trying to convince people to do texting, to convince people to hire virtual assistants to scale their business. But you know what? There's always going to be investors that are going to need lists, and new investors that are coming in that are going to need marketing intelligence and data. And that's exactly why I can supply them with. So I'm not trying to make things difficult on myself. While I am passionate about this, I'm not passionate about fighting, right? I'm more and convincing people of something that they're not convinced for. What's the saying? A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. And that just seems like what the market is. Just, again, I'm human, guys, just telling you guys where I'm coming from with this. So texting, guys, what can we expect? 1 hour, 150 leads will close with texting. You guys need to average 40,000 texts to get a deal closed, and maybe a little bit higher. But these are non-repeating texts, guys. These are unique text messages. If you're sending, if you're dealing with lower quality data, and or you're also targeting phone number 2, 3, 4, and 5, guys, expect 50, 60, 70, 80,000 texts, right? Expect some issues with your texting carrier shutting you down because you're targeting bad phone numbers, okay? Right? But guys, you guys shouldn't even be talking about, rather, oh man, CC, I didn't get a property under contract. As soon as you guys ask me and hop in my DMs, I don't mind it, guys. I don't mind it. But as soon as you guys ask me consulting calls, I do those, and just ask me questions in my DMs that don't require consultation calls, I always ask you guys what your KPIs are. And a lot of you guys don't have them together. Guys, if you're spending money in your company and you're not tracking these things, you're wasting your money. You're no better. And I mean this with all due respect. You're no better than gamblers, guys. And you probably could do better with gambling if you're pretty good at it than wholesaling. But don't say are investing, marketing, because guys, I don't just serve wholesalers. Majority of the people I've been working with the last several months have been flippers, actually. I've been working with more rehabbers. I like the term rehabbing. I think it sounds more professional. So been with rehabbers, guys. So, but whether you're flipping, wholesaling, whether you're marketing to get a deal, it's going to take an average of 40,000 texts, guys. And you can get a property under contract within 2 weeks. I literally just did this with a client, my guy Graham in Australia. I put in a VA in his company, and within the first 2 weeks, guys, we were doing about 7,000 to 10,000 messages a day. Within the 8th day, we had a seller under contract. It's going to be a pretty good deal in Memphis. Okay. And we'll also discuss the SB 140 regulation and how it affects you. And I'm just going to share my interpretation with you guys on that. But I'm going to share with you guys my spreadsheet. Yes, skip tracing 30K is expensive. But guys, it's a business, and I'm not telling you guys what to do. Maximo, I know you're it's great hearing from you. REI Reply setup, turbo setup client, Maximo, great guy. And Maximo, I agree with you. And what I've done is I've taken out credit. Now, I felt more comfortable taking out credit, and I first did in 2017. So a year into my business, I took out credit. And I felt comfortable because I had a great mentor who was helping me out in Fayetteville, from Fayetteville, rather. I was in Charleston by then. And also I was tracking these numbers. So that was more important. Like, I actually knew how many leads it was taking me with direct mail at the time to get a property under contract. I was getting some momentum. I was in one market. So guys, I coughed up probably $8,000 on a direct mail campaign. I took out 2 Discover cards and 2 Chase cards, probably $8,000 my first time. Right. And that was to cover direct mail. Guys, I just want to put something in context. We didn't have all this skip tracing back then. You know how much it costs to skip trace one record? It cost $10. And it was like a whole report. And then when skip tracing became somewhat available to us all, and I'm not getting down on you, Maximo, but I need to say this: when skip tracing became somewhat affordable, it was $1 through TLO or microbill, either or. I had access to both. $1, whether or not you got a hit or not, and there was a 70% hit rate. So if we skip trace 1,000 people, we just wasted. We spent $1,000 and we wasted $70. We wasted $70, guys, just to get 700 hits. $1 hit. My math is right, guys. Yeah. So, and that took a week, and I had to pay for labor from people on Fiverr to manually skip trace those people. And they had to come out to our office. I had to create a whole new LLC, a debt collections LLC, for them to come out of my office. So I had to have a physical office just to get access to skip tracing. So guys, got to put on our big boy pants. Just giving you guys some context. Yeah, I remember paying 45 cents. And now, guys, it's cheaper. I pay about 12 cents with the records that I pull, because the data I get is like high quality. And that's basically what I pay. Yeah, it was crazy back then, man. It was crazy. Wow. It was wild. Jermaine, it was wild, man. So, 30,000, I'm doing the math over here on my calculator, which is why you see me clicking around, times 0.12. So guys, I'm paying, 3,600 for 30,000 records. Guys, that's not bad. Plus, if you're doing, another $3,000 for texting, $100 a day, $7,000 overhead. And let's just say your assignment's $20,000. You guys, you will find an assignment for $20,000. $7,000 to spend to make $20,000, not bad. And then you're going to have another, in those 30,000 texts, another at least 2 properties that you can follow up with that will close in the next 60 days. So you're talking about maybe 60,000 on the books, 20, 40, 60 on the books for the quarter. I want you guys to look at your campaigns like a quarterly thing, not just like 30 days. Again, if you're looking at this thing like a 30-day marketing channel, guys, our marketing strategy, that's a crapshoot. It's like, you might as well be playing craps. We're running a business here, guys. Okay? So put it on a credit card, guys. If you need funding, you guys could get it through me, right? I have a funding partner named Ease Consulting that I work with. I'll send you my link and see if you qualify. I think they require a 620 credit score. If you're taking anything under, I think 25 grand, a 620 credit score. If you're working a W-2 job, you just have to have your W-2s filed for the last 2 years, and 35 grand is what you need to make. So guys, put it on a credit card or go through them. That's the only time I would suggest that. A lot of you guys, a lot of gurus and stuff suggest you guys to put stuff on credit if you're for like coaching programs. I wouldn't suggest that. Like, there has to be like an actual ROI. And I've never pushed people to do credit, but guys, if you want to make your dreams happen, you have to treat it like a business. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at my, zip code analysis sheet. So let's go ahead and talk about this. Let me see if there's anything else I want to discuss on this. Okay, no. All right, guys. So we will discuss SB 140 in a moment, but let's go ahead and talk about Houston. So on my sheet, I have, there's like 200 and something zips here. So when I added the math up on my presentation, it's off. So just forgive me for that, guys. I don't know why it's off. I'll see why it's off before that. But anyway, we have a lot of freaking zip codes. All right. So we have a lot. So there's a two-step process I use with pulling my list. I'm going to show you guys the first step. I'm not going to show you guys my list pulling. If you guys want a list from me, tap in, email me, hit me up over Messenger. I can get you guys a list. I'm doing list pulling, but I'm going to show you guys the first part here. So the first part is knowing which zips to target first. Now, I have this distress tier here, and this came from EIG.org. This is secondary. So all these over here are secondary sort of like metrics I look at because these are dated, right? This was from densities from 2020, distress tiers from like 2022. And really what determines the distress level of an area, guys, is the median sale price. Okay. So the median sale price. So you remember those 4 highly distressed zip codes I mentioned? Well, I said, okay, I want to see the zip codes that are below $150,000 at or below. Okay. And we have 4. Now, guys, if I only target Harris County, I would be missing Hull, Texas, and Liberty, and San Jacinto. I didn't even know San Jacinto was in this area. And this is how you get a competitive advantage. My friends, there's not one single factor that's going to give you a competitive advantage in your market. There's not. So a lot of you guys ask me, well, what list pulling tool are you using? And a lot of you guys would take the information and then just go run with it and then pull it in your list pulling tool. It's a pie. And I referenced this a few presentations ago, several months ago. It's a marketing pie, guys. We have zip codes that we're pulling. We have to target the right zip codes. We have to target with the right list, and then the right skip tracing data and the right marketing channel. If one of 4 of those are off, it decreases your campaign. It may not implode it completely, but it may, if the error is egregious enough, like if all your data is from PropWire and it's all free, okay, guys, it doesn't matter how great a zip codes you're pulling if you're using like PropWire data. Like, wow. Okay. Similarly, if you're using my data source and we're targeting all affluent homeowners that are going to say, talk to my attorney, right? If I'm targeting people greater than or equal to 500,000, and I'm targeting all affluent homeowners, okay, $1 million plus zip codes, it doesn't matter how great my data source is. So there's tiers. The first tier we're going to focus on, team, tier 1, are the people that live in zip codes where the median sale prices are at or below $100,000 or 150,000. I would say here probably 200,000. They're distressed, guys. So I'm going to go to Zillow and take a look at what these areas look like. So if you want a guaranteed deal in Harris County and in your whatever county you're in, take all the zip codes. You get my zip code analysis sheet. If you need it, just let me know. If you guys want it, I'll drop the link where you guys could download it. Actually, let me go ahead and put that here because I know you guys are going to have some questions about that. So you guys can get this here. Okay. I'll put this here. Let me stop sharing in case you guys want it. Okay, guys. So if you guys want that, go ahead and grab that here. It should be a comment. I'm going to make a comment on analysis sheet here on Facebook. In case you guys are watching on Facebook, you can just copy the link there. Okay. So, all right, guys. So let's get back to it. So I would target Galani Park. Galani Park is the most distressed zip code in the not even Harris County, in the whole Houston MSA. And let's go ahead and look at this. Excuse the window here. I'm sharing my whole screen, so it's going to be the Affinity window. So let's go ahead and look at this. 77547. See, 113,000. See, most of these homes are going. See, if your rehab homes are going for like 155, you're in a pretty distressed area. See, but again, what can you expect? You can expect getting a deal quickly here, but you might be in a situation where your assignment fees are low. So we have to. There's a balance here, guys. We can't have our cake and eat it too. I'm the definition of wanting that, but we can't. So. All right, guys, so we have to, just like with sellers, we can't give them their price and terms. So they can't want $500,000 for the house and to close tomorrow. All right. I could give them a $500,000 offer for their house if they agree to take $1 over 500 months. All right. I know that's outlandish, but that just drives home the example. So we have this home, decent as is condition property, sold for, so 150 looks like what homes are selling for. And the great thing about these areas too, guys, is that in these zip codes, you're not going to have a lot of homeowners that know what they're sitting on. They're going to be in the hood. When they go outside, they're going to see a homeless man walking on the street. They're going to see Dollar General down the road. Okay, they're going to have half completed rehabs like this, because it's sure enough they probably start this thing in 2017 around Harvey or whatever. I'm not sure when, and then they didn't finish it. But this is probably finished now. They probably just took the photos offline, non-disclosure state. So you're looking at brand new rehabs for 150. So what does that mean we can offer sellers? Let's just say ARVs are 150. Half that by 2, 75,000, right? Is what we can offer, is what we can wholesale it for. Want to make a $20,000 assignment fee? Your offers are going to have to be around 55K. But really, when you get underneath 100,000, you have a lot of homeowners that may not feel like they're really going to need the money, and like you may not be able to take 20K assignments, right? You may need to just be comfortable with 7 or 10K, right? But the good thing is you're going to be able to contract these pretty quickly. That's why I took one of my clients to Memphis. So Memphis, basically the median sale prices are like 200, I think 100 and right around 200,000. I think around let me see here. Memphis here. 1 second. I don't think I have Memphis on here. Nah, I don't have Memphis. But, I think around like 200,000, low 200s is the median sale prices. So guess what? The lower the median sale prices, the higher the seller motivation is. It's that easy, guys. Yes, are there exceptions to the rule? Absolutely. But that's the rule of thumb. A lot of you guys want to be smart Alex out here. Yes, guys. But I'm thinking about broad strokes here. Okay, well, one property was listed for sale for $250. I'm not sure if it sold for that. 169, this looks like a duplex. No single family residential property. So guys, the good thing is that these people are getting in here when I think this area is turning around because they bought this for 169. So there's still homeowners here. I like seeing that because there's still homeowners here that will cough up these homes probably like for 30 or 40K. And then you have buyers now that are probably want to be in this area because they're getting priced out of the other areas or there's no opportunities in the other areas. So they'll jump on the opportunity to buy a property and for 150. I don't see them paying for that, but I do think this area is going to increase. And again, guys, I always get a feel of the area just by looking at it, just to make sure what I'm looking at on my spreadsheet matches, and it matches up. I would say this is a significantly distressed area. Guys, Liberty, this area right here is probably an area that is not on a lot of you guys' radars. Agents and realtors. Now, are you going to be able to launch a whole marketing campaign in Liberty? No, but you may be able to pick up like 1 or 2 deals easily in this county. And these types of deals, guys, these are the ones that really sustain you and come out of left field in a good way during those winter months. So while everybody's stressing, they're like trying to stay in Harris County and tough it out. Okay, you could go to Brazoria County, Liberty, right? There's another one in Liberty down here. Median sale price is 158, right? Not a lot of homes sold, but we see a good trajectory over the years. 2021 right here, this was 77K. 2020, 23 was 92K, and so forth and so on. Right now it's 158, but only one home sold duration. So yeah, I'll target this area and just target this little area right here. I'll put a little filter on there where I avoid these green areas. That's on my proprietary criteria where I avoid all of the homes in this area. And listen, I'm pulling. I'll target this area and I'll get a deal or 2 a quarter. You do that enough in all these secondary zip codes, and shoot, you got a deal a month, possibly larger assignment fees because these sellers don't know what they're sitting on in these secondary areas. So again, guys, the zip code selection is the first part. Is it going to change everything about the market? Excuse me. Is it going to change my whole marketing campaign and be that like golden like goose or that golden just like marketing strategy that turns it around for me? Probably not. But to be honest, this is the first thing I do, right? So even before I go on my list pulling tool or whatever, I start with my market analysis. And let me stop sharing that here. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, hope you're enjoying this. We'll go on for a little bit longer. Okay. All right, guys. So if I wanted to go in this area, let me get down and dirty to it. What would I do? I'll filter these zips by, I want there to be some sort of home sold volume. In an area like Houston where there's over 200 zips, I would say if there's over 100 zips, you can do this. I filter out the zip codes where there's below 50 homes sold because we need a large sample group to validate the days on market right here. All right, the days on market, and to validate the median sale price. Okay, so if there's only one home sold, then let's just say there was one home sold. Well, that was one home sold that for 170K, and then 28 days on market, and then one home sold. Now, this is my particular strategy, right? But if you need to get a deal done, go to where there's no competition, like I just showed you. And guys, you can saturate that thing with direct mail, that little area I just showed you guys, that zip code, texting, cold calling, and you might be able to get a deal out of like 25 leads. But see, the thing is, guys, I don't really teach that without context because some investors may think that's what the norm is, and that's not the norm. That's how you get a deal initially. That's why a lot of investors that get deals through driving for dollars are manually scraping these probate leads or foreclosure leads. You guys, you're like, man, if I could just scale this up. Guys, it's impossible to scale that. unless you have a team of people, I lie. I never want to say anything's impossible. I knew one guy, or heard of one guy that scaled driving for dollars, and he hired a whole bunch of Uber drivers. I'm not sure how long that lasted, and if he's still doing it. But to scale probates and all that market research stuff, to get a VA to do it, and a lot of you guys don't know how to hire the right person, and you probably want to hire an ISTJ personality type for that. I'm just going to say that. You're going to be stuck doing it yourself, manually scrubbing these probates. And again, the business isn't going to run without you. Okay, so again, we're focused on at least 50 homes sold in the last 30 days on market. We want it to be underneath 50, and the median sale price to be underneath 500,000. So what I'm about to show you guys are all the zip codes that I would consider marketing to. So there's 111 that I'd consider marketing to, okay? Right? There's 111 I would consider marketing to, minus the header. So how do you choose which ones? Again, guys, I'm going to sort it by ascending, which is already sorted out, right? So, and I'm going to start with these. So I'll take these. It doesn't matter the county. Look, guys, we have Galveston, Montgomery, Brazoria, Liberty. Think if we just target Harris, we'd be missing out on tremendous opportunity to get in touch with people that aren't being targeted. So let's just say I'm going to Montgomery County, and the density is low density here, right? And let's just say I'm able to get 10,000 people with my distress chart criteria in this little zip code right here, are all in Montgomery County, where it makes sense to target. And I'm able to target those people. I may be able to get one property under contract out of targeting 25 leads. That's very real, because these people in this low density area don't know what they're sitting on. They're not being inundated by "we buy houses" messages. You don't have flippers targeting it, but I have enough homes sold to justify if a flipper, renovator, rehabber, landlord, my cash buyer basically wants to target this area, wants to go in this area, I can justify and say, hey, wait, Mr. Cash Buyer, we had 50 homes sold. And he'll see that. He'll be able to see, especially with the list I target, there's not going to be a home out in the middle of nowhere, because the property we got under contract with our list pool is going to be right in that gray area that I showed you guys. Okay? It's going to be right here. In this gray area. It's not going to be out here. So he's going to know what? He's going to say, you know what, Cece? I may call 10 of my qualified cash buyers. They're going to say, I'm not going all the way out there. But I'll probably have 6 or 7 that'll say, you know what, I'll go out there. Guys, it's a numbers game. I don't look at my business in the form of hunches, or it's a good thing I don't live in these areas too. Right. So even in my hometown, but if I were to do a marketing campaign there, which I don't, right, because I go off of metrics, it doesn't make sense to market there for me. You know, it doesn't, especially with all the laws and stuff that, you know, centered around like assigning. You still do wholesale deals there, but you have to double close. I'm just going to go somewhere where it's a lot easier. Okay. But so I don't look at, in a hunch standpoint. So guys, I'm very much on the outskirts, as far as how I operate my business and just live my life. I'm not in echo chambers, so I don't know what the Houston realtors are saying about this market. I'm looking at it based off of the tradecraft I created and saying, hey, this zip code in Montgomery County is a quality zip code to target. That's what it's telling me, because it fits my area. It's underneath 500,000, and it's really on the low end for the whole MSA. 71 homes sold, 71 days on market was a little bit high, but that can be a density area. But with 50 homes sold, guys, that's not bad. Yeah, I'm not going to have a ton of cash buyers that are going to want to take me up on my property I get there, but I'm going to have several. Okay? So that's one thing to keep in mind there, guys. And I would just get these guys, and then I would put them in my list pulling tool, and then I will pull them. I will pull up until I got to 30,000, because I needed to get 30,000 texts. And I know, what did I say? I have like 79. No, excuse me. I have more than that. I probably have 200,000 like targetable homes to target, including my secondary counties. So Galveston, not Galveston, Texas, but Galveston County, Montgomery, Brazoria, Liberty, in addition to Harris. And these zip codes right here, in conjunction with my proprietary criteria will allow me to get my first deal under contract by only targeting maybe 300,000 people and within a week or two. I know that like clockwork, and I can do that in every single one of these markets, guys. I follow the same criteria, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys over the course of the next several months. I'm just going to be talking about this. I might switch it up and talk about some general marketing related just topics as it relates to investing, wholesaling, and if you're a flipper targeting homeowners yourself. Shout out to my flippers that have their own marketing department. Shout out to you guys, because that's like 3 different business models in one. Shout out to my wholesalers too, guys. It's a grind, right? But I'm going to be discussing the best strategy and the best zip codes to target. So I would target these: 77036, 77520, 77033, 77590. And I'm opening up my criteria to realtors, agents as well, guys. So, my marketing strategy and my business model to agents and realtors, because, guys, I believe you guys should market like wholesalers. I can't take credit for that. Jerry Puckett from Bigger Pockets. I haven't seen him posted recently. I hope he's doing okay. But a guy when I first started named Jerry Puckett owned a direct mail company. He said to agents, hey, you guys should market like your wholesalers. And I love what he said. And if you're an agent and you're targeting Galveston County and you pull your own list there and it's medium density and you're the only realtor in town, guys, you're going to eat. And if you're targeting them with SMS, you basically have the pick of your litter. I can't tell you guys how many times I've targeted people. It happened last week where a lady, she admitted nobody's been contacting her about the home. So she didn't know what it's worth. We were the first investor to contact her through SMS. What? I think that had to do partly with my database, because I basically targeted every zip code in Shelby County. So I do think that had to do with the list that I pulled. If I'm pulling PropWire, PropStream, batch leads, X leads data, guys, you're going to be missing the same data that everybody else is missing, and you're going to be targeting the same data that everybody else is targeting. The best marketing strategy is one that not everybody has. That's why I pull lists personally for my clients. And when they do direct mail or they do cold calling or whatever, they could basically get a deal out of the first 10,000 record lists I pull, because I'm targeting the most motivated zip codes with the most motivated criteria. Now, when they come back the second time, and if you guys were to pull a list with me, I would be like, okay, well, hey, you got a deal, got a couple properties under contract. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to do tier 2. So let's just say this is tier 1 right here. All right. And then let's just say this right here is list pool 2. Okay. And it's going to take us a little bit more, because as we go up in price, guys, median sale price, as we go up, we're going to be what's the word I'm looking for? Give me a second, guys. As we go up in median sale price, we're going to be losing more of our ideal seller. So our ideal seller is going to be in these distressed areas. So there's going to be more housing units that we can target, that makes sense to target in these lower income areas, right? And then as we go up, there's going to be less people to target. There may be the same population, like in this zip code, there may be 40,000. Well, actually, there's 30,000 people in population as the last census, right? And let's just say there's 60,000 people here in the last census, and in this one. So I'll highlight them. So there were 61,380 people, in this zip code, okay, at the last census in 77072. And then let's just find another one with similar people. And in Missouri City in 77459, guys, there were 65,000 people. I guarantee you, if I put my same proprietary criteria on this zip code, 77072, where the median sale prices are $225, versus this one right here, in Missouri City, 77459 with 410,000 as a median sale price. I guarantee you there's going to be way more people that fit my criteria here. Okay. I'm not just pulling everybody, so I have filters, even with these individuals up here. That's why it takes you more zip codes after you target your first set of homeowners. It's going to take you more zips to get a property under contract, right? So this may be list 2, right? And then this may be list 3 right here. 30,000. And then this may be list 3.5, you know, may get about 10, 15,000 people with this one. Okay. And guys, guess what? By this time, this is month 4. Houston is large enough where you can stay in there solely and get 3 to 5 deals a month in Houston, right? To get more than that, you probably need to do some cluster marketing like direct mail, you know, RVM and all that. But, you know, with texting and cold calling, you definitely could do that. I've seen it because I did it, and I was been working with companies since 2017 that have been in Houston. And so it's a solid market. Okay. So, you know, just keep in mind that you're going to have to target more people as you increase the median sale price. But the key is you start with the zip codes that are lower in median sale price first. Okay. So if you want the exact zip code I'm using, you don't want to do this from scratch, guys, the zip code analysis sheet, go ahead and download it in the comments there. Okay. This is my ace in the hole right here. This is a tool I've been using since 2021. And you could go back here with these different colors. You can see 2023, 2021, 2020. I did 2024, and then for July, and then I did December 2024. And guys, you may say, well, why isn't it updated? Guys, take my word for it. I'm an analyst, been doing this for a while. Just take my word for it. This stuff doesn't need to be updated once every 6 months, because really the order is only going to change. And I'm going to start doing it for the summer and then the winter, because I like to trend analysis. If you do it every month, it's just like, it's too much, and you can't like tell what's what. Like it's just too much. Trust me, guys. Feel like I have to say that. I was an intelligence analyst. And I did something similar in the Army, guys. I did trend analysis, and this is just a carryover. Trust me when I say that. It doesn't have to be updated every month. I do need to get updated for July, but I could darn near guarantee you the numbers might be a little bit different from July 2024 to July 2025. But I guarantee you the order of these zips are basically going to be the same. You're not going to have this zip go down here in tier 4, drop down to tier like 2, right? You know, these zip codes are going to be your distress zip codes for the most part, and these ones aren't. I've seen a significant change from 2021 to 2024, mainly because the data just became more available, right? There were a lot of blanks here, like blank data, you know, in 2021. But yeah, guys, so that's that's how I would start with that. Again, you know, I would go off and for direct mail, guys, you want to make sure once you pull your list, I only target what's called the golden addresses. So as soon as I skip trace my my list with the golden addresses, and the golden addresses are essentially the addresses that are different from what you get as far as mail. So excuse me, the mailing address from the county versus what you skip trace. And if those addresses are different, then I'll mail those, but it'll also be a very targeted list. So out of maybe 100,000, 200,000 records I'd pull, I'd only target, guys, maybe, you know, 17,000 of those with direct mail. And you're talking about maybe out with Houston, I could probably do maybe 5,000 of those will be absentee out of state, right? So that's the first tier. And then I would target tax delinquent next, and then absentee $100,000 or less as far as when they purchase their property, and then 20 years of ownership. So I just don't target just the whole list, right? So whenever you target your list too, guys, you want to make sure you get it skip trace. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap that up. I'm going to be going live here. I'm going to test out some different times. I know this is late. This is late for me. But I know a lot of you guys can attend. So I'm going to be testing a lot of times. I may go live tomorrow earlier. At the same time, I do plan on going live more. So I want to knock out another market analysis because I just want to get this information out. So guys, if you need a zip code analysis sheet, go ahead and download it. If you need a list pull, hit me up, guys. I am doing list pools at CC Garland, info at ccgarlandmarketing.com, guys. We're marketing heavy, getting you guys squared away with. There's a gap here. People think they know what they're talking about. Not saying you guys, but just, people out there talking about marketing, they skip over it. They skip over it because we have a lot of non-technical people in the investment community, okay? All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Hope you guys enjoy your day, the rest of your night, excuse me. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Always love doing these. I always get energized, and it's hard for me to fall asleep after I present. All right, guys, I enjoyed you guys for coming. Thank you for joining me on your holiday weekend, your Labor Day weekend. See you guys next time. It's been CC Garland Marketing Goat, out.